I want to share a bit of wisdom that I learned in reading Marcus Aurelius Meditations, a very famous book in Stoic philosophy, and also just from life experiences that I've had in the past. And it's about how to make easier decisions, how to know that you're doing the right thing, doing the right choice, and really trying to speed up that process. But it's kind of weird, so I'll explain that to speed up that process you kind of need to slow down the process. There's kind of three main points that I'm going to go over. The first of which is going to be good judgement. It means that you allow yourself to view both options, or however many options there is, with the best judgment possible. And if you've watched my videos before, it'll take us on to point 2, which we know that good judgment, it comes from having wisdom, from knowledge and experience, which means that we need to know as much as possible about each decision, what each decision will mean for us. There's always going to be a right choice. It can be very difficult in some situations, but there always will be the right choice. That's something I believe. Maybe I'm naive because I've not maybe had such a great decision where both options look terrible. I'll use an example later on, which is not a very like life or death extreme, but it was quite a pivotal point in my life. So wisdom in terms of knowledge and experience obviously is going to be very valuable. This is something you can also speak to other people about, so you can get more knowledge, and obviously as you experience more decision making, you're able to practice this more and then implement it in your life and hopefully teach other people, because that's kind of the idea of philosophy and stuff, is to learn things, cultivate it for yourself, figure things out, and then share it to other people as well. The third point is the virtue of patience, and it's in a very simple manner. If you've got a decision to make sure you take a step back and you do look at things rather than just making it on a whim like that. I've done that in the past where I've been offered certain things and then you just go on it because it looks good, but you don't actually know what the other options are, and then you end up regretting it later on. And that's, I think, just being able to have that patience to step back, look at things properly, and use your knowledge and your experiences and all that wisdom that you've gained, stuff you might have read in philosophy and stuff, to make your decision. And I think this all stuff that I've applied to my life when I was making the decision to leave university and pursue my rugby career full time. It was, I think, the ideal that made the final decision was actually very easy. I think but understanding, this is the part about Marcus Aurelius Meditations, is what does your nature require of you? That's the kind of pivotal part of this decision that really helped me get through it, and deciding if you've got your main goals ahead of you, what does it require for you to do to reach that goal? Now, it would have taken me twice as long to try and pursue this goal. Of course, I've not achieved it yet, but I don't believe I would be where I am today had I still been in university, splitting my time half and half with rugby. So the friction that was holding me back is obviously because the whole time growing up through school and just growing up at home and stuff, I was kind of the idea that once you finish school you go to university, and then when you finish university you get a job, and that's that. So my mind when I went to university was, because I was smart enough to go to university, so I was like, well, I'll go to university and then I'll worry about rugby at the end of the 4 years. And it was starting to get about halfway into second year, or not even halfway into second year, I was starting to get fed up with doing uni, because first year you can just coast by, it's not really that much of a struggle, but even in first year I did miss quite a lot of rugby opportunities. So when I actually started feeling this work getting more difficult, and it was sort of like, oh, now I need to start applying actual time to university work, and that makes me have to push my rugby sessions later out into the day or something. I don't have as much time as I want to spend on certain skills or on fitness, and I always have to rush back and it gives me less time for food, and to be honest it was just stressing me out. And I knew that my goal was to be a professional rugby player, not to be, I was studying product design, I wouldn't really want to be a designer, I was just doing it because that was the subject I found most interesting and engaging at school. I feel like there's a lot of other people that do that, but that's not what this video is about. The friction wasn't just that sort of stigma of being a uni dropout. I don't think that was really affected, but it was more sort of like, I knew there was going to be a lot of friction at home with my parents if I said I'm dropping out uni, even though I kind of felt comfortable in that. And that's kind of what took the longest, was trying to persuade sort of my parents and a couple of the tutors and stuff at the uni that this was actually the right decision for me. So I ended up going to a compromise and saying that I was taking a year out and I'll make my decision after a year. It's now a year later, I've made my decision, I've left, and to be honest, the only change in my mindset last year to now, through months and months of exploration, I've tried being an entrepreneur and doing businesses and stuff. That bothy that I mentioned in the last video, we still kind of go on in that, and we still sell stuff, but we're not as active on that because I think, well, we all realise the people that I made the business with, we've kind of got our own stuff that we need to focus on first. I just wanted to give so much time to rugby, and to be honest, it's worked really well. If you want to check out my 2021 highlights, I'll stick it up here or something, put a link in the description as well. And that's kind of a product of me being able to spend all my time on rugby, because I was able to fully engage myself and actually put together a string of decent performances. So from being in uni and playing rugby, knowing what I wanted to do, I just had to kind of ask myself that one simple question: is this what your nature requires of you? Does your nature require you to do this? And if your goals don't require you to do something, a lot of the times it is going to be a waste of your time, and you're just adding more friction to achieving your goals, and you're probably more likely to not fully commit to it. Because from life and the amount of YouTube and books and stuff that I've read, I know that you're going to be so much more successful when you just focus on one thing and doing it well, doing it consistently. I've researched loads of athletes and stuff, and it's the same thing for everyone. So if I don't even give that a shot, then I can't really say that I'm aspiring to do anything. And that's the whole summary of that video, is just that whole point of, does your nature require this? Does your journey in life, does your goal require you to go through these steps? If it does, do it. Stop complaining. Wish I could have told myself that a few times, but still do it anyway, of course. And if your nature does not require this, find a way that you can cut this out of your life. And yes, it can be very tough if it's a relationship or things that are a wee bit more interpersonal rather than just going to university. Then it can be a lot more difficult, but at least you know what the right answer is. It's just about getting that courage to actually make that action. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Of course, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the subscribe button for more content. I post every week, and follow me on Twitter, Tristan_Andrews. I post there most days, just thoughts that go through my head and little bits of wisdom that I can get reminded of during the day through certain events. And of course, if you could like this video, that also lets me know that this was a popular topic and I can go deeper into certain aspects about this sort of stuff as well. But until next week, see you later.